Hey, what's going on? So, for the most part, I try to mind my business, but there are some times where some pastors seem to be doing certain things that just seem as though they can't be ignored. Because I can't tell you how many people I see or I speak to that say, I don't see the problem. What am I talking about? This is what I'm talking about.
They trying to act like they don't know what you're referring to. Look at them and tell them, walk it out. Hey, now walk it out. Walk it out. Now west side walk it out. South side walk it out.
So what you just saw should actually appall you. It should have you scratching your head wondering, what does the church come to? But the truth is, the church has always been this way. Many people really don't understand that this is the condition of many churches because they've been living in their own special box. They've been living in a box where only thing that they really worry about or concern themselves with is what is happening in front of them. But other people at other churches have been doing this for years. In fact, this church with William Murphy has been in existence for 18 years. And guess what? It's not the first time they've done something like this. It's just the first time that you've been made aware of it. When you have pastors that have been able to do such things as this for 18 years, do you really think they see it as wrong? Absolutely not. The reason why William Murphy is able to put on this kind of display on a New Year's service, you're trying to enter in a new year, you're trying to start something new and do something different. He wants you to walk into 2024 and into a new you of what? Prosperity and blessings. Isn't that always the message? Are you not tired of hearing somebody talking about prosperity messages, talking about this is your best year, that God's gonna bless you? Let me tell you a secret. Everybody, look at 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Every single one of you are not going to be blessed. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry to tell you, and I'm trying to say it as blunt as possible because people need to wake up. I know it feels good and it feels a sense of encouragement. It encourages you to hear somebody say that this is going to be your year. But the truth is, the only one who knows if this is your year is God. And he's not sitting here. William Murphy isn't coming to you or a different person directly and saying, God specifically told me that this is going to be your year. He didn't do that. He made a general statement to a general body of audience, people that are listening, which means what? He can't be talking to everyone. He may be speaking to everyone, but he doesn't mean everyone. Because the truth is, there's no way of holding him accountable. Because if you're one of the people that's listening, you're automatically going to believe that it's you. And who's going to call him out at the end of the year and say, what? You lied. William Murphy, you are a liar. Who's going to come and say that? Nobody. So guess what happens? They're allowed to keep making statements year after year, telling you that this is going to be your year, your best year, your year to receive. Only for you at the end of the year to be exactly where you were before. Still struggling and without. And the truth is, don't get me wrong, I understand that blessings don't only come in a monetary way. That it doesn't always mean that it's going to be money. You may be blessed in health. You may be blessed to have your mind. Blessed maybe to have a house. There's many ways to be blessed. But the reality is he's lying because he's not talking to everyone. And again, no one is holding them accountable when that year isn't what they said it was going to be. And trust me, I've seen it throughout the years. Every time I hear leaders get up and make blanket statements that are supposed to apply to everyone, knowing it doesn't happen. The Bible says what? That the poor you shall have with you what? Always. If Jesus and God are telling us that the poor will always be with us, then unfortunately somebody has to fit that category. Somebody has to be the one that's in that situation. Everybody can't be prospering. The world isn't even set up for that. You know how many people out here have money for days? And the government would rather go ahead and build planes and build this and build ships and different things rather than taking that money from one year and actually solving the poverty problems? Do you not realize when they spend $1 trillion on building a new plane, that if they just took those funds that one year, They could literally solve the poverty problem that we have in the world. But you think they will do it? No, because the world isn't designed that way. It's not set up for everyone to succeed. Because once you have everyone succeeding, you no longer have the upper class. You no longer have a middle class or a lower class. These things are needed for the world to go. They need people that are going to work the jobs that no one else wants to work. But these are things they don't tell you. William Murphy is literally trying to cater to the flesh of the people. He's trying to cater to what they already know. If the people that are coming to your church are not used to a traditional church setting, they're not used to always being around other people that are actually living Christ-like or walking in a holy manner. Those are the ones that are sitting there listening and they hear, walk it out, now walk it out. Guess what's happening to their spirit right now in that moment? It becomes excited. Why? Because this is something that their flesh is familiar with. When he sees you doing a swag wave, right, and a person's in the audience and they're used to doing this, guess what happens to their flesh? It becomes excited. It starts thinking about all of the different things that bring a good feeling to them. Think about this. If I played a song right now in the background, I'm not going to do it for copyright reasons, but if I played a song in the background right now, immediately your mind would go to a memory that was attached to when you heard that song. That's how our bodies work. That's how our mind works. Music, it attaches itself to a memory and it stores it. And when that song is played again, that memory is brought back to the forefront. So when the people are sitting in the church and they're hearing these songs, they're confusing the excitement of what I'm listening to is bringing me joy, not realizing it brings them joy because it's attached to what they were already connected to. It's not about God in that moment. It's about the music. It's about the vibe. And William Murphy knows this. That's why he has a DJ. That's why he has them playing these songs. And then he claims it's about, oh, I played the edited version. What? You can play an edited version all you want. Everybody still knows what the actual words were when it gets to those parts. Who are you playing? You're playing yourself. And I'm being forward and I'm being blunt because the truth is, when is the church going to hold the church accountable? He's been doing this for 18 years. And now because of social media being where it is and YouTubers always being so quick to where we're always putting this out, we would never know. If somebody didn't take it upon themselves to record, and why do they want to record? Because they love the moment. They want everybody to see the moment that they're experiencing. They don't care about the fact that this is the way, how are people going to perceive what we're doing? They ain't thinking that way. They're thinking about wanting people to be jealous because they're not there to experience what they are. And that's why they record it. Everybody wants to be the one to share something that no one else has. But William Murphy is not sitting here doing this for the benefit of the people. He's doing it for the benefit of his numbers. He's trying to get numbers. He's trying to get members. No, I take that back. I said it right. He's not trying to get members. He's trying to get numbers. Because the truth is, and I'm sorry if I'm being harsh, how many of those people or so-called members do you think will ever get to shake the hands of William Murphy? How many of those numbers do you believe William Murphy is actually going to know the name of? Very, very few. So he's not doing it for them. He's doing it for himself. Because if I'm the under shepherd and I'm preaching to the people, but the people don't have access to me, then there's a problem. Because if you go back to the Bible days, people had access to Jesus. Jesus at one time when he fed the 500 men and women with them, right, and children, guess what? They all had access to Jesus. When Jesus walked the streets going through, doing his miracle, and the woman with the issue of blood, it was so many people when she got there that what did she have to do? She had to go ahead and crawl her way to him just to touch the hem of his garment. Why? Because the people had access to him. When you go to most of these churches today, what do the people not have? They don't have access to the leader. Think about it. It doesn't make sense. Everybody wants to go to these big mega churches with Mike Todd and different people, right? Because it feels good to know that your name is attached to a mega place. But you don't have access to your leader. You don't have access to the people that he's next to. You go ahead and try it if you don't believe me. Go to some of these churches and try to approach the pastor without having an appointment. Try to approach the pastor without his permission and see if the people that surround him won't get in your way and say, stop, hold up, where you going? They won't even let you talk to the man of God. And it's not always about safety reasons. There are people who have been going to churches for years and still have no access to the pastor. The pastor still doesn't know their name unless they're ahead of an auxiliary. When will the church hold the church accountable? Why are we allowing the things that we did in the world to become a part of the church? Why are we allowing these leaders to keep making these excuses that we're reclaiming what the devil stole? We're reclaiming what was the enemy's. You can't reclaim something that the enemy created or had. If it came from the enemy, it was given and created. The enemy gave it to that person for the purpose of it being used in the world. The enemy didn't give it for the purpose of it being used in the church. It doesn't make sense. What does holiness have to do with unholiness? What does righteousness have to do with unrighteousness? What does the church have to do with the world? The only communication that the church and the world are supposed to have is when the church decides that it wants to go and get the world and pull somebody out of it. But instead, the only thing that's happening is that you have the church here and the world here. But guess what? The church is actually starting to look more and more like the world and less like the actual church. Which also means you're looking less and less like God. You're looking less and less like God. The very one we're supposed to look like. The very one we're supposed to be like. There's a problem. There's something wrong. There is something wrong. And it starts with the church holding the church accountable. You don't sit there and watch these kind of things happening and not actually say something about it. You don't sit here and keep giving your tithes and offering to the church, knowing that this is what you're being fed and what's being done. This is how you want to celebrate God? This is how you want to celebrate a new year? Is this really how we want to represent God? Because if it is, then that's why your flesh is so happy and why you think these things are okay. I can't tell you how many people I heard that said, when I talked to them, they said, I don't see the problem with it. What's wrong with it? That's the problem. When you don't see what's wrong with it, that is the problem. Because unless you're telling me that you think Jesus or the apostles would have found themselves doing this, then you already know it should be seen as a problem. And don't tell me the culture is different. They had music back then just like we do now. When the wedding ceremony was going on that Jesus was attending, there was music being played there as well. And they were enjoying themselves while they were there. So don't act like music is just the culture or time. No, let's wake up and be real. The problem has nothing to do with that. The problem is the way that you think. You don't realize just how much you may have been affected by the world already, which is affecting the way you think. It's affecting the way you talk. It's affecting what you accept. And when you accept that which is wrong, you are no longer a friend of God, but you are a friend of the enemy. If you justify what is wrong, then you become wrong. And God is actually seeing you as a supporter of wrong. And what did we always say? Just what they call it, what? Guilty by association? You're associating yourself with something that's wrong, but you're trying to be seen as innocent. It's time to wake up. It's time to stop playing with the church. William Murphy is wrong. His church is wrong. And those that continue to sit under him without calling him out, you're wrong. Because you're all a part of the problem. It's time to wake up. All right, this is Word Speak. I'm Jeremiah. I'll see you on the next video. Be safe.